Picture a quiet night in Medina, 14 centuries ago. The stars hang like lanterns in the desert sky, casting their gentle light over the sleeping city. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, sits in contemplation, his heart open to the divine. And then, in that sacred stillness, something extraordinary descends from the heavens above. A verse of such magnificence, such profound power, that the entire universe trembles at its arrival. This is not just any verse. This is Ayat Al-Kursi, the verse of the throne, the greatest verse ever revealed in the Holy Quran. Tonight, we embark on a journey unlike any other, a journey that will take us beyond the boundaries of our world, past the seven heavens, through realms our minds can barely comprehend, to understand the secrets hidden within these blessed words. We will discover why even Shaytan himself admitted its power. We will learn about the throne of Allah that encompasses all existence. And we will uncover the hidden name of Allah, the Ism al-Azam, that some scholars believe lies concealed within this verse. Before we begin this sacred journey, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and like this video. By doing so, you help us reach more hearts with these beautiful Islamic stories. Now, let us begin. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself transported back to the blessed city of Medina. The Muslim community has grown, but challenges still surround them. The believers gather in the simple mosque of the Prophet, their hearts yearning for guidance, for protection, for a deeper connection with their Creator. They have already received many revelations, verses that guide them in worship, in dealings with one another, in understanding the oneness of Allah. But nothing could prepare them for what was about to come. The angel Jibril, peace be upon him, descends with a verse of immense power and significance. This verse would be placed in Surah Al-Baqarah, the chapter of the cow, at verse number 255. But its placement in the Quran does not diminish its supreme status. When the companion Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, asked the Prophet directly, "O Messenger of Allah, which is the greatest verse of the Quran?" Without hesitation, the Prophet responded, "Ayat Al-Kursi." The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, explained that among all the verses of the Quran, among all the words of divine revelation, this verse stands supreme. It is the Sayyida, the master, the chief of all verses. And there is a profound reason for this distinction that we will explore together tonight. Let us now turn our attention to the verse itself. In Arabic, these words flow with a rhythm that touches the soul. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa, al-hayyul qayyum, la ta'khuzuhu sinatun wa la nawm, lahu ma fi as-samawati wa ma fi al-ard, man dha alladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi'idhnihi, ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum, wa la yuhituna bi shay'in min 'ilmihi illa bima sha'a, wasi'a kursiyuhu as-samawati wal ard, wa la ya'uduhu hifzuhuma, wa huwa al-'aliyyul 'azim. Now, let us understand what these sacred words mean in our language. Listen carefully, for each phrase carries oceans of meaning. Allah, there is no deity except Him, the ever-living, the sustainer of all existence. Neither drowsiness overtakes Him nor sleep. To Him belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth. Who is it that can intercede with Him except by His permission? He knows what is before them and what will be after them, and they encompass not a thing of His knowledge except for what He wills. His kursi extends over the heavens and the earth, and their preservation tires Him not. And He is the Most High, the Most Great. These words, my dear friends, contain within them a complete portrait of Allah's majesty, His power, His knowledge, His sovereignty over all creation. But to truly understand the depth of this verse, we must journey through a remarkable story, one that even involves Shaytan himself admitting to its power. One of the most beloved companions of the Prophet was Abu Huraira. May Allah be pleased with him. His name means father of the kitten, and he was known for his incredible memory and his love for cats. But more importantly, he was known for his dedication to learning and preserving the teachings of the Prophet. It was this very companion who would experience something extraordinary, something that would teach all Muslims until the end of time about the power of Ayat Al-Kursi. The story begins during the blessed month of Ramadan. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, had appointed Abu Huraira to guard the charity collected for the poor, the Zakat al-Fitr. This was food that had been gathered, mostly dates and grains, stored in one place to be distributed to those in need. Abu Huraira took his responsibility seriously, watching over this trust during the long nights of Ramadan. On the first night, as Abu Huraira kept watch, he heard a rustling sound. Someone, or something, was stealing handfuls of food from the charity. Abu Huraira sprang into action, catching the thief red-handed. In the dim light, he could see the figure before him, and with a stern voice, he declared, "By Allah, I will take you to the messenger of Allah." The thief, realizing he had been caught, immediately began to plead. His voice was filled with desperation as he said, "Please, I am in great need. I am poor and I have a family to feed. They are hungry and I am struggling. Please have mercy on me and let me go." Abu Huraira, who had a soft heart and always thought well of others, was moved by this plea. He thought to himself, perhaps this person truly is in need. Perhaps I should show mercy as Allah shows mercy. So despite his duty, he released the thief. The next morning, when Abu Huraira went to see the Prophet, something remarkable happened. Before Abu Huraira could say anything, the Prophet asked him, "Oh, Abu Huraira, what did your prisoner do last night?" Abu Huraira was surprised. How did the Prophet know? But this was not unusual, for the Prophet sometimes received knowledge through revelation. Abu Huraira explained what had happened, how the person claimed to be poor and needy, and how he had released him out of mercy. The Prophet listened and then said something that Abu Huraira did not expect. "He has lied to you, and he will return." True to the Prophet's words, on the second night, the thief returned. Once again, Abu Huraira caught him stealing from the charity. And once again, the thief pleaded and begged, making promises that he would never return. His words were so sincere, so convincing, that Abu Huraira's merciful heart softened once more. He let the thief go, thinking perhaps he had learned his lesson. But the next morning, when the Prophet asked about the prisoner, he gave the same response. "He has lied to you, and he will return." By the third night, Abu Huraira was ready. He knew now that the Prophet's words were true, and he waited vigilantly. Sure enough, the thief returned for the third time. Abu Huraira caught him immediately, and this time he was firm. "That's it. You lied to me twice already. I warned you. Now I am definitely taking you to the messenger of Allah. This is the third time you promised not to return, yet you broke your promise and came back." But the thief, realizing he had no way out, made an offer that would change everything. He said, "Wait. Let me go, and I will teach you something by which Allah will benefit you greatly." Abu Huraira paused. What could this thief possibly teach him? But curiosity got the better of him, and he asked, "What is it?" The thief said, "When you go to your bed each night, recite Ayat Al-Kursi from beginning to end. If you do this, Allah will appoint a guard from among the angels to protect you throughout the night, and no Shaytan will come near you until morning. Abu Huraira, intrigued by this knowledge, released the thief once more. The next morning, he went to the Prophet with excitement to share what he had learned. But before he could finish his story, the Prophet asked, "What did your prisoner do last night?" Abu Huraira replied, "O Messenger of Allah, he claimed he would teach me some words by which Allah would benefit me, so I let him go." The Prophet asked, "What are these words?" Abu Huraira explained about reciting Ayat Al-Kursi before sleep and the promise of protection. The Prophet smiled and said something profound. "He has told you the truth, although he is a liar. O Abu Huraira, do you know who you were speaking with these 3 nights?" Abu Huraira said no. The Prophet revealed, "That was Shaytan." Let that sink in for a moment, my dear friends. Shaytan himself, the sworn enemy of humanity, the one who has devoted his existence to leading people astray, even he could not deny the power of Ayat Al-Kursi. Even he had to admit that reciting this verse grants such protection that no devil can come near. This is not just a story. This is an authentic hadith recorded in Sahih Al-Baqarah, one of the most reliable sources of prophetic traditions. What does this teach us? It teaches us that truth is truth, regardless of who speaks it. It teaches us the absolute, undeniable power of Ayat Al-Kursi. And most importantly, it gives us a practical tool for protection. Every night before we sleep, we can recite this verse, and Allah will send an angel to guard us. No nightmare, no evil presence, no whisper of Shaytan can penetrate that divine shield. Let us turn our attention to one of the most mysterious and awe-inspiring phrases in this verse. His kursi extends over the heavens and the earth. What is this kursi? What does it mean? And why does understanding it shake our hearts and minds to their very core? The word kursi is often translated as throne or footstool. But these earthly words cannot truly capture its reality. Some scholars of Islam have spent their entire lives contemplating the kursi, trying to understand its nature, its vastness, its relationship to the throne of Allah, the Arsh. What they discovered is both humbling and breathtaking. Ibn Abbas, one of the most knowledgeable companions and cousins of the Prophet, stated that the kursi is the footstool, the place where the feet of Allah rest. But he quickly added that no one can truly comprehend the vastness of the throne itself. Other scholars, like Hassan al-Basri, interpreted the kursi as representing Allah's knowledge, suggesting that his knowledge encompasses the heavens and the earth. Ibn Taymiyyah, one of the greatest scholars in Islamic history, insisted that the kursi is a real, physical creation, not merely a metaphor, though its exact nature remains beyond human understanding. But here is where it becomes truly mind-expanding. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, gave us a comparison to help us grasp, even slightly, the scale we are talking about. In a narration reported through Abu Dharr al-Ghifari, may Allah be pleased with him, and found in the works of scholars like Ibn Khuzaymah and al-Bayhaqi, this comparison is related. The 7 heavens compared to the kursi are like a small ring thrown into a vast desert. Let us pause and truly contemplate this. Take off your ring if you are wearing one, or imagine a small ring in your hand. Now, imagine throwing that ring into the Sahara Desert, or any enormous desert stretching as far as the eye can see. The ring disappears, doesn't it? It becomes invisible, insignificant, lost in the vastness of the sand. That ring represents all 7 heavens, and the desert represents the Kursi. But wait, there is more. The same hadith continues. And the Kursi compared to the Arsh, the throne of Allah, is like that same ring thrown into the desert. So if you thought the Kursi was unimaginably vast, the Arsh is even more incomprehensibly greater. Let us try to put this into perspective with our limited understanding. Think about the room you are in right now. Expand your imagination to include your entire home. Now expand it to your neighborhood, your city, your entire country. Keep expanding to the whole earth, spinning in space. Now add the moon, the sun, the solar system. Our solar system alone is so vast that light takes hours to travel from one end to the other. But that is just one solar system. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, contains around 400 billion stars, each one potentially as large as or larger than our sun. Some of these stars are so massive that if you place them where our sun is, they would extend past the orbit of Mars. The Milky Way galaxy is so enormous that light takes 100,000 years to cross from one side to the other. And yet, our galaxy is just one among approximately 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. 2 trillion galaxies, my friends. Can your mind even process that number? Each galaxy containing billions or trillions of stars. This entire universe, with all its galaxies, stars, planets, and vast empty spaces, exists within what we call the first heaven, the lowest heaven. And there are 7 heavens. In a narration attributed to Abdullah ibn Masud, may Allah be pleased with him, it is related that the distance between the lowest heaven and the second heaven is described as a journey of 500 years. This pattern continues between each successive heaven, and then another 500 years between the 7th heaven and the Kursi. Islamic scholars note that when these early narrations mention such distances, they may refer to scales beyond our ordinary understanding, possibly relating to the speed at which angels travel, which is itself beyond human comprehension. The essential point is not precise mathematical measurement, but conveying the unimaginable vastness of Allah's creation. So all of the universe we can observe, all the galaxies we can see through our most powerful telescopes, all of it exists within the first heaven. And the 7 heavens together, in comparison to the Kursi, are like a tiny ring lost in an endless desert. And the Kursi itself, in comparison to the Arsh, is like that same tiny ring. And above the Arsh is Allah, the Most High, the Most Great. Not contained by it, not limited by it, for Allah is beyond all creation, beyond all space and time. The Arsh is His creation, and He is above it in a manner befitting His majesty, in a way that we cannot comprehend or imagine. Why does the Quran tell us this? Why does Ayat Al-Kursi mention that His Kursi extends over the heavens and the earth? Because it is reminding us of who Allah truly is. It is putting things in perspective. When we face difficulties in our lives, when we worry about our problems, when we feel overwhelmed, this verse reminds us that we are turning to the one who created and sustains all of this vastness. Our problems, no matter how large they seem to us, are like less than a grain of sand in His sight. And yet, He cares about us. He listens to our prayers. He knows our every thought, our every need. This is the God we worship. This is the one we turn to. And when we recite Ayat Al-Kursi, we are acknowledging His absolute, total, complete sovereignty over all existence. When Islamic scholars examine Ayat Al-Kursi carefully, they identify either 9 or 10 distinct sentences within it, depending on how they divide the phrases. The renowned Ma'arif ul-Quran tafsir identifies 10 sentences, while other scholars count 9. This difference comes from whether certain phrases are treated as separate sentences or combined. For our purposes, we'll explore the verse's structure using the 9-sentence framework, recognizing that either division reveals the verse's perfect internal symmetry. Each statement reveals a different aspect of Allah's nature and attributes. Let us journey through these sacred words and discover the treasures they contain. The first sentence declares, Allah, there is no deity except Him, the ever-living, the sustainer of existence. In Arabic, this is Allahu la ilaha illa huwa, al-hayyul qayyum. This opening statement is not just an introduction. It is the foundation of everything. It affirms the absolute oneness of Allah, that He alone deserves worship. But it does not stop there. It introduces us to two of the most important names of Allah, Al-Hayy, the ever-living, and Al-Qayyum, the self-sustaining, the one who sustains all existence. Think about what Al-Hayy means. Allah is living with a life that has no beginning and no end. He was never born. He will never die. His life is perfect, complete, eternal. Every living thing we know experiences death. Plants wither, animals perish, humans pass away. But Allah's life is different. It is absolute, unchanging, everlasting. And Al-Qayyum, this beautiful name, tells us that Allah not only lives, but He sustains everything else. Every atom in the universe, every star burning in space, every heartbeat in every chest, every breath we take, exists only because Allah sustains it. If for even a fraction of a second, Allah withdrew His sustaining power, the entire universe would cease to exist. We depend on Him absolutely for every moment of our existence, while He depends on nothing and no one. Many scholars, including the great Imam al-Nawawi, believe that these two names, Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum, together form the Ism al-Azam, the greatest name of Allah. When a person calls upon Allah using these names with understanding and sincerity, their supplication is answered. This is why they appear at the very beginning of Ayat Al-Kursi. The second sentence states, neither drowsiness overtakes him nor sleep. This might seem like a simple statement, but consider its profound implications. We human beings need sleep. After a long day, our bodies demand rest. Our minds need to shut down and recharge. Even the most powerful and energetic person cannot function without sleep. But Allah, the Most High, never sleeps. He never drowses. His watchful care over His creation never wavers, not even for an instant. Imagine a mother watching over her sick child through the night. She tries to stay awake, but her eyelids grow heavy. Eventually, she might doze off for a moment. But Allah never experiences this. His care for His creation is constant, unwavering, perfect. When you lie down to sleep tonight, everything is in His care. When you wake tomorrow, it is because He has sustained you through the night. The stars kept shining, the planets kept orbiting, your heart kept beating, all because Allah's sustaining power never wavers, never weakens, never needs rest. The third sentence declares, to Him belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth. Everything, absolutely everything, is His possession. The earth you stand on belongs to Allah. The air you breathe belongs to Allah. Your very body, your soul, your abilities, your wealth, everything you think you own belongs to Allah. He is Al-Malik, the owner. We are merely caretakers, trustees, temporary users of what ultimately belongs to Him. This understanding should fill our hearts with both humility and relief. Humility because we realize we truly own nothing. Relief because if everything belongs to Allah, then He is responsible for taking care of it all, including us. When we worry about our sustenance, we should remember this sentence. The one who owns everything is the one who provides for us. The fourth sentence asks, who is it that can intercede with him except by his permission? This sentence establishes Allah's absolute sovereignty in the realm of intercession. On the day of judgment, when people will be desperate for someone to speak on their behalf, no one will be able to intercede unless Allah grants them permission. Not angels, not prophets, not righteous people. No one can intercede without His explicit permission. This includes Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who will be granted the honored station of intercession, al-Maqam al-Mahmud. But even he, the most beloved of creation to Allah, can only intercede by Allah's permission. This sentence reminds us that all power, all authority, all ability to help or harm comes from Allah alone. The fifth sentence, which sits at the very heart of Ayat Al-Kursi, states, He knows what is before them and what will be after them. Allah's knowledge is absolute and all-encompassing. He knows the past, present, and future. He knows what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen. He knows our past mistakes and our future challenges. He knows the secret thoughts in our hearts and the words we have not yet spoken. This knowledge is not like human knowledge, which is limited and incomplete. Allah's knowledge is perfect. He knew before creating you every choice you would make, every prayer you would pray, every tear you would shed. And yet, this does not contradict our free will. For Allah's knowledge does not force our choices. He knows what we will choose, but we still make those choices freely. The sixth sentence continues, and they encompass not a thing of His knowledge except for what He wills. This sentence humbles us before the vastness of Allah's knowledge. We know only what He has taught us. All human knowledge, all scientific discoveries, all wisdom accumulated through history is nothing compared to what Allah knows. We are like someone standing at the shore of an infinite ocean with a small cup, taking out a tiny bit of water and thinking we understand the ocean. We know only what Allah has willed to teach us, and what we know is infinitesimal compared to what He knows. The seventh sentence, which we have already discussed in detail, states, His Kursi extends over the heavens and the earth. This is the verse's most mysterious and awe-inspiring statement, reminding us of the incomprehensible vastness of Allah's dominion. The eighth sentence declares, and their preservation tires Him not. Maintaining this vast universe, sustaining every atom, every star, every living thing, does not tire Allah or burden Him in the slightest. We get tired from far lesser tasks. We feel exhausted after a day of work, after caring for our families, after solving our small problems. But Allah sustains the entire universe without any fatigue whatsoever. This is because His power is infinite, His ability is perfect, His strength knows no limit. The ninth and final sentence concludes with, and He is the Most High, the Most Great. Al-Ali, the Most High, indicates that Allah is above all creation in every sense, in His essence, in His attributes, in His authority. Al-Azim, the Most Great, tells us that He is greater than anything our minds can conceive, greater than any description, greater than all creation combined. These 9 sentences form a perfect, complete picture of who Allah is. They answer the most fundamental questions about divinity. Is there only one God? What is His nature? What is His relationship to creation? What is the extent of His knowledge and power? Every question is answered with eloquence, clarity, and profound depth. Throughout Islamic history, scholars have explored the concept of Ism al-Azam, the greatest name of Allah. This refers to a name or combination of names that, when invoked in supplication with sincerity and proper understanding, has special power in having prayers answered. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, spoke about this concept in several hadiths. In one narration, found in collections like Sunan ibn Majah, the Prophet indicated that the Ism al-Azam is found in 3 chapters of the Quran: Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Imran, and Surah Taha. Scholars examining these chapters notice that all 3 contain the phrase Al-Hayyul Qayyum, the ever-living, the self-sustaining. Based on this observation and other textual evidence, many scholars, including the great Imam al-Nawawi, concluded that these 2 names together likely form or contain the greatest name of Allah. Ayat Al-Kursi opens with these 2 names immediately after declaring the oneness of Allah, which scholars view as significant. The eminent scholar Abu Hamid al-Ghazali wrote that the reason Ayat Al-Kursi is the greatest verse in the Quran is because it contains the Ism al-Azam. When we recite this verse, especially with understanding and presence of heart, we may be invoking the greatest name of Allah. But the Ism al-Azam is more than just a formula for getting our prayers answered. It represents a deep understanding of who Allah is. When we call upon Allah as Al-Hayy, we are acknowledging that He is the source of all life, that His existence is necessary and eternal. When we call upon Him as Al-Qayyum, we are acknowledging our complete dependence on Him, recognizing that He alone sustains all existence. Throughout Islamic history, some spiritual teachers have suggested intensive recitation practices for those seeking deeper connection with Allah. Based on their own experiences and spiritual methodologies, certain scholars have recommended reciting Ayat Al-Kursi repeatedly with contemplation, sometimes suggesting specific numbers, like 1,000 times over 40 days. While these recommendations are not from the Prophet's direct teachings, they reflect the understanding that consistent, focused remembrance of Allah can open the heart to greater spiritual awareness. This is not about magic or superstition, but about filling your heart and mind with the remembrance of Allah in His most complete form, allowing these divine attributes to transform your understanding and your character. When you call upon Allah using the Ism al-Azam, you are not manipulating Him or trying to force Him to do something. Rather, you are aligning yourself with the reality of His nature. You are acknowledging who He truly is, and in that acknowledgement, your heart becomes receptive to His mercy and His response. Now let us turn to the practical benefits and virtues of reciting Ayat Al-Kursi, benefits that have been confirmed through authentic statements of the Prophet Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him. We have already discussed the hadith of Abu Huraira, where Shaytan himself confirmed that reciting Ayat Al-Kursi before sleep provides divine protection until morning. An angel is appointed to guard you, and no devil can come near. This alone should be enough reason for every Muslim to make this verse a part of their nightly routine. Imagine going to sleep each night knowing that Allah has assigned an angel specifically to protect you. What peace of mind, what tranquility this brings. But the virtues do not end there. In a hadith narrated by Abu Umama and recorded by An-Nasa'i in his Sunan, which has been authenticated by Ibn Hibban and other scholars of hadith, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever recites Ayat Al-Kursi after every obligatory prayer, nothing prevents him from entering paradise except death." Think about what this means. After each of your 5 daily prayers, if you recite Ayat Al-Kursi, you have secured your entry into paradise. The only thing standing between you and paradise is death itself. When death comes, if you have been consistent in this practice, paradise awaits you immediately. You will not face a long wait. You will not face severe questioning about this particular aspect of worship. The recitation of this verse after each prayer becomes your ticket to eternal bliss. Some authentic sources mention that the home in which Ayat Al-Kursi is regularly recited becomes a place that Shaytan avoids. This is why many families write Ayat Al-Kursi beautifully and hang it in their homes, not as mere decoration, but as a reminder to recite it and as a means of remembrance. Regarding specific practices like reciting it 7 times when leaving the house, while such recommendations exist in some Islamic traditions and writings, it's important to focus primarily on the authentic hadiths we've discussed, reciting it before sleep and after each prayer. These are the practices directly confirmed by the Prophet. Peace and blessings be upon him. One of the miraculous aspects of Ayat Al-Kursi that often goes unnoticed is its perfect symmetrical structure. Scholars who examine the verse's internal organization, whether they divide it into 9 or 10 sentences, discover a remarkable symmetrical pattern that demonstrates divine eloquence. Using the 9-sentence framework, these statements do not simply follow one after another randomly. They are arranged in a perfect, symmetrical pattern that points to the verse's divine authorship. The first sentence and the 9th sentence form a pair. The first begins by declaring Allah's oneness and His eternal life through His names Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum. The 9th ends by declaring His exaltation through His names Al-Ali and Al-Azim. Both sentences establish who Allah is through pairs of His beautiful names. The second sentence and the 8th sentence form another pair. The second states that neither drowsiness nor sleep overtakes him. The 8th states that preserving the heavens and earth does not tire him. Both sentences emphasize that Allah does not experience weakness or fatigue in any form. The 3rd sentence and the 7th sentence are paired. The 3rd declares that everything in the heavens and earth belongs to Him. The 7th states that His Kursi encompasses the heavens and earth. Both sentences speak about Allah's ownership and sovereignty over all creation. The 4th sentence and the 6th sentence form a pair. The 4th discusses intercession, stating that no one can intercede except by His permission. The 6th discusses knowledge, stating that no one can know anything of His knowledge except what He wills. Both sentences emphasize that access to Allah's realm, whether through intercession or knowledge, requires His permission and His will. This leaves the 5th sentence standing alone in the center. He knows what is before them and what will be after them. This central sentence about Allah's all-encompassing knowledge sits at the heart of the verse, surrounded by 4 pairs of perfectly balanced sentences. This is not coincidence. This is not the work of a human author trying to be clever. This is divine eloquence, proving that every word, every phrase, every sentence in the Quran is placed with infinite wisdom. This symmetrical structure appears in various places throughout the Quran, but it is particularly striking in Ayat Al-Kursi because the verse is so dense with meaning. Despite containing 9 distinct concepts, each one profound enough to contemplate for days, they are woven together in perfect balance and harmony. Some scholars have noted that this symmetry also appears in the structure of Surah Al-Baqarah itself, the chapter that contains Ayat Al-Kursi. When you examine the major themes of the surah, you find they mirror each other in a pattern similar to what we see in this verse. This is part of what makes the Quran's literary excellence so remarkable. It works on multiple levels simultaneously, from individual words to entire chapters, all displaying the same divine precision. After everything we have learned tonight, the question becomes, how do we integrate this knowledge into our daily lives? How do we move beyond just knowing about Ayat Al-Kursi to truly living with it, allowing it to transform our hearts and our relationship with Allah? First, make memorizing this verse a priority if you have not already done so. It is not a long verse, only 55 words in Arabic. Set aside a few minutes each day to work on memorization. Even if you can only memorize one sentence at a time, persist in your effort. The reward of having this verse in your heart, ready to recite at any moment, is immeasurable. Second, understand what you are reciting. This is crucial. Many of us recite verses mechanically without contemplating their meanings. We have spent this entire evening exploring the depths of Ayat Al-Kursi. Review these meanings regularly. When you recite the verse, pause after each sentence and reflect on what it means. When you say Al-Hayyul Qayyum, feel the reality of these names. When you say His Kursi extends over the heavens and the earth, try to imagine that vastness. Try to feel the majesty of Allah. Third, establish the habit of reciting it at the prescribed times. Before sleep, make it the last thing you recite before closing your eyes. Let your last conscious thoughts be of Allah's protection and care. After each of the 5 daily prayers, immediately follow your prayer with Ayat Al-Kursi. Do not delay, do not forget. Make it as automatic as the prayer itself. In the morning when you wake, recite it to place yourself under Allah's protection for the day ahead. Fourth, teach this verse to your family. Share with your children the story of Abu Huraira. Tell them how even Shaytan had to admit the power of this verse. Help them memorize it and understand it. Make it part of your family's nightly routine. Imagine a household where every member, from the youngest to the eldest, sleeps each night protected by angels because they have recited Ayat Al-Kursi. Fifth, display this verse beautifully in your home, not just as decoration, but as a constant reminder. Every time you pass by it, let it remind you to recite it, to reflect on it, to renew your consciousness of Allah's presence and power. Some families frame it and place it near the entrance of their homes, reciting it each time they leave and return, placing their affairs under Allah's care. Sixth, when you face difficulties, when worry grips your heart, when you feel overwhelmed by life's challenges, return to Ayat Al-Kursi. Recite it slowly, with understanding. Remind yourself that you are turning to the one whose Kursi encompasses all creation, for whom preserving the heavens and earth is no burden, who never sleeps or drowses in his care for you. Your problems, no matter how large they seem, are within his knowledge and his power to resolve. Finally, make the recitation of this verse a means of drawing closer to Allah. Do not just recite it, seeking worldly benefits, though those benefits are real and promised. Recite it to know Allah better, to understand Him more deeply, to feel His presence more acutely. Let this verse be a window through which you gaze at the divine attributes, through which your heart learns to recognize its Creator in all His majesty and mercy. Throughout Islamic history, spiritual teachers have recommended various intensive practices for those seeking deeper connection with Allah. Some suggest reciting Ayat Al-Kursi repeatedly, such as 100 times daily for 40 consecutive days, while maintaining spiritual discipline and increasing in good deeds. These are personal spiritual methodologies passed down through experience, not obligatory practices from the Prophet's teachings. The key principle they embody is that consistent, conscious engagement with Allah's words can deepen understanding and presence of heart. Whether you undertake such intensive practice or simply maintain the regular recitation we have discussed, the key is consistency and consciousness. Better to recite Ayat Al-Kursi once daily with full presence of heart than to recite it 1,000 times mindlessly. Quality matters more than quantity in acts of worship. As we come to the end of our journey tonight, let us reflect on what we have learned. We began by standing in Medina on that blessed night when Ayat Al-Kursi was revealed through the angel Jibril. We learned about its supreme status among all verses of the Quran. We traveled through the extraordinary story of Abu Huraira and discovered how even Shaytan was forced to acknowledge this verse's protective power. We then stretched our minds to comprehend the incomprehensible, contemplating the Kursi and the Arsh, trying to grasp the vastness of Allah's dominion. We saw how all the galaxies in the universe are like a tiny ring, lost in an endless desert when compared to the Kursi, and how the Kursi itself is like that same ring when compared to the Arsh. We stood humbled before the recognition of how small we are and how great Allah is. We explored each of the 9 sentences of Ayat Al-Kursi, discovering the treasures of meaning they contain. We learned about Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum, the names that many scholars believe form the greatest name of Allah. We discovered the verse's perfect symmetrical structure, a mathematical and literary miracle that points to its divine origin. We learned about the practical benefits promised to those who recite this verse regularly: protection from devils, entrance into paradise after every prayer, safety throughout the day and night. And finally, we discussed how to make this verse a living part of our daily spiritual practice. But perhaps the most important thing we can take away from tonight's discussion is this: Ayat Al-Kursi is not just words to be recited. It is a portal, a window into understanding who Allah truly is. When we recite it with consciousness and understanding, we are doing more than seeking protection or reward. We are engaging with divine truth, allowing our hearts to be shaped by an accurate understanding of our Creator. In a world full of confusion, where people worship so many false gods, where they place their trust in wealth, in people, in their own abilities, Ayat Al-Kursi brings us back to reality. It tells us clearly and unequivocally who deserves our worship, our trust, our complete reliance. It is Allah alone, Al-Hayyul Qayyum, the ever-living, the self-sustaining, the one whose Kursi encompasses all creation and who never tires in his care for us. Tonight, when you go to bed, recite Ayat Al-Kursi with a heart awakened to its meanings. Feel the presence of the angel that Allah sends to protect you. Tomorrow, after each prayer, recite it knowing that you are securing your path to paradise. Throughout your days and nights, return to this verse again and again, letting it be your companion, your protector, your reminder of Allah's majesty and mercy. May Allah illuminate our hearts with the light of His remembrance. May He grant us understanding of His words and consistency in acting upon them. May He protect us and our families through the blessing of Ayat Al-Kursi. May He make us among those who recite this verse with understanding and love. And may He admit us into paradise through its blessing. Before we end, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel if you found this beneficial. Share this video with your family and friends so they too can understand the magnificence of Ayat Al-Kursi. Leave a comment below, telling us how you plan to incorporate this verse into your daily life. We have created over 200 educational Islamic videos for you to explore. Watch them regularly with your loved ones, and may Allah make them a means of guidance and blessing for you. Sleep peacefully tonight, knowing that you are in the care of Al-Hayyul Qayyum, the ever-living, the self-sustaining, the one who never sleeps, who never grows weary, who has appointed angels to protect those who remember Him. Close your eyes with the words of Ayat Al-Kursi on your lips and in your heart, and trust that the Most High, the Most Great, is watching over you. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you and the mercy of Allah and His blessings.